to have all of you here. Today is another wonderful day. We are going to have, I call it a mind-blowing session. Here we have a very young, enterprising engineer who has been in the software development space for some time. I know him too well, and I don't want to diffuse the quality of his message. I can speak a whole day about him. I want to introduce you to Mr. Precious Chima. As he smiles to all of us, you can see he's very young, and I don't want to do too much of introduction. I know he has prepared to encourage you, to stimulate the eager want in you to be different. His story is impactful, transformative, and I want you to be in a state of anticipation and be wowed by what you hear. So, Precious, the session is yours. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, welcome to this session. I'm going to be speaking and then I'll take some questions at the end of my session. I made up some tiny slide. I'll try to share my screen now. Seems I have to send a request. So Mr. Ransford, could you uh,
Yes,
make it
I've
pop?
granted you. I've granted you.
Okay. Let me try again. Okay. Screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Can you see this portion of my screen? One more last time.
Yes, we can. We can see
Yes,
it.
please.
Okay. So like I said, I had to make this slide just yesterday because I didn't want to I wanted to have some structure and not just run around the place and say a whole bunch of things that would leave people with too many stories to take away. So yeah, I entitled my session The Mindset That Builds Great Engineers. And don't be scared by the engineers there. This won't be very too technical that you would be like surprised. So about me, this is me. I am Chima Precious, but then most people call me Chima in general. Everybody calls me Chima. I am a software engineer. I work at Invertis. What I do is I do a lot of platform engineering. I work on systems. In my past life, I was working on mobile applications, anything that runs on your mobile phone. I think you are probably using one of the mobile apps that I probably worked on currently in the Ghanaian space. If you want to do investment from the comfort of your mobile, there is a platform called Achieve, and I was lucky to be one of the engineers that started that project. We ran it for like 2 years and it got traction. And then I had to leave the team to go figure out what was the next step for my career. So yeah, if I'm not writing code or if I'm not building something, then I am contributing or giving back to the community because the community and then knowing people has been kind of like one key factor in where I've gotten to today and everything that I can possibly count on. So I go to a lot of community events, developer events, and then I'm either sharing my story or I am sharing some cool thing that I was able to build in my spare time. So yeah, it's all nice and dandy until you get to this part. And this is way back in time, around 2017. You have this picture here that looks like you are in some town or village somewhere in Ghana. And who is this? So that is me. That was me in 2017. I had just gotten out of school, I mean, secondary school, and I went back to my parents there's a village somewhere in the Volta region. That's where my parents are. So I went back home And then, when you get out of school, like you are hoping for the next thing, like what am I going to do with my life? And you are counting on your parents to kind of figure out a structure for you so that you just like have a smooth ride. And the best I could get was to like help my dad. My dad is a trader. They've been doing that all their lives, and that's like the maximum way they know how to make money or survive. So I mean, I was going to go into that system, but then I had my own interests. So I mean, I really didn't have any option. So I mean, I helped my dad, but that didn't make me give up on the things I had my eyes on. Like I was crazy about mobile phones. I was crazy about things that you could do with computers. I was crazy about even people that were working in those spaces. Like you see somebody, they tell you they work at Ericsson. Somebody tells you they work at MTN. And like all these things that were just fascinating to me because I didn't want to end up like my parents where I'm just like I have this one big store where I'm selling things to people and I'm not really creating anything new. That wasn't my kind of style. So yeah, getting into this part of my life, I wanted to share what I call build curiosity, not just skills, because in today's day and age, there are lots of skills you can think of getting, but then there has to be like a driving force behind it. Because if you don't have that driving force, then in your mind, you can't really justify the amount of work that you would need to kind of get very good in that skill. And curiosity has led me to like a lot of places, and like I have spent a lot of money just because of curiosity, and I have sports many things. There was this one time I was curious about doing something to my dad's laptop, and then I just took it, and then I had a screwdriver lying around, and then I opened it, did something, and then I had to place it back together, and the laptop could never turn on back. And I kept figuring it out until my dad came home and he was mad because, he had his whole documents and things on it. But then looking back to that stage of my life, I think that it kind of allowed me to see what it lives in these things we call computers that we use to, send emails and just type around. Like it gave me that ability to see all the components that it needs, so that today, if I'm using my laptop and then I have an issue, I know like 1, 2, 3 steps to use and diagnose it, or I can even make that skill like usable to people. So yeah, a lot of things that you are going to be needing in this space to survive the tech space or even any industry. You need to have something to drive you, and I can tell you that you would have the tendency to go really far if like you are curious. And sometimes curiosity doesn't just come, like you can just make it out of thin air. Like something has to drive you. And for me, for the most part, the thing that drove me was because I wanted to escape the life that my parents knew and were trying to force me into. I wanted to escape that. And then if I want to escape that, then I need to know these other things. And in order for me to know those other things, then I need to be really curious about them, so that even if I woke up from bed and I missed breakfast, I would still think about computers. If my dad refused to give me money to buy MTN data bundle, I can still figure out my way around because I am still curious. So that leads me to the next part of my slides, which is tech moves too fast for static skill sets. Curiosity is your real superpower. Like these days, we can see AI and these other things, and there are just too many things, and you could get lost in the maze where you're like, okay, so I mean, I am just a human being. I have these other things going on in my life, but I'm trying to catch up with tech, and it's like tech is moving faster than I can. Like there are lots of things, like there is Bitcoin, there's cryptocurrency, there is AI. And AI, now we have different types of AI that could even like generate a whole movie. And it is taking people out of their jobs, and like people are just panicking. But then the real superpower is being curious, and then just learning how you can use these technologies to improve your existing skill sets, so that you don't get stuck in that one place that you've always known and mastered. So to the next thing, this one is very important because I think the world is built in such a way that by default, everybody is meant to consume. Like you consume food and you don't even wonder how it is made. You buy soap and most people don't even read the contents of the products that were used in the soap. Most people don't even do that. And then we go to things like TikTok. People can be scrolling TikTok for like an hour and time just goes by and like you haven't created anything in that hour. All you did was consume content on YouTube and Facebook and these other places that people actually made. And the funny thing is those who create this kind of things don't even get the time to watch or consume other people's content because they are way too busy creating things and adding value. So this is kind of important. And in the context of our talk here, where we are kind of leaning towards the tech side, uh, there are lots of tutorials and guides and documentations and specifications that you would come across. And don't just get stuck into like this cycle where you read documentation, you find a tutorial of a guy building something, and you watch it and it ends there, or you build exactly what the documentation or the tutorial is asking you to do, and it ends there. The easiest way about this is to think about the problems that exist in your current life and your current living situation. So for me, like this, I mean, in my room, I wish if I had like a smart system where I don't have to leave the comfort of my desk, and then I just had like a touch screen on my table so that I know when I need to turn off the AC. I need to turn off the lights in my bedroom. I need to know who is at the door without just walking there. Those things would improve my life. But then for somebody that might be here, their problem is probably, okay, I run a small business, but I need a mobile app to be able to process the orders I get on a daily. And that app should also be able to like give me a record of how much money I am actually making in my business and how much money I need to be saving so that I can meet some targets. So that could be a problem. And tech is one of the ways that you can fix that problem. So once you are curious enough and you get into solving that problem that is very specific to you, then you know that, okay, I need a mobile app. What do I need to make a mobile app? Then you now start asking the right questions. Okay, I can use this framework to make a mobile app. What do I need to use? What do I need to know to use this framework? Okay, there is a documentation. How do I get started? Okay, use this command. You need a laptop that has capacity enough to run this program. So that is just it. At each step of the way, you are curious enough to know what the next step is. But the most important thing is that for everything that you learn, you would get ahead much quicker if you find a way to apply it to solving problems in your life. That way, you build experience beyond just knowing what whoever is teaching you just feeds into you. And to my next thing, this one is very important. Like I can keep stressing this over and over. Community is way bigger and way more important than competition. And what this simply means is using myself as an example, I think all the things I have been able to achieve, I think it's just mainly because I had the right people and I had the right attitude and I had the right mindset such that they were very lenient with me and offered, like their shoulders as stepping stones for me to just get on and then try to reach my goals. And I think one thing I also tell people is that a lot of the jobs I had, I think one important thing that you all need to know here is that I don't have a university degree. My dad was never in that space to buy me forms when I just came out of school to so that I can even apply. There was a point where I actually bought the forms and it was due to people that actually took interest in me. Like they could see the future that was way like right ahead of me that I couldn't even see. And they made that possible. But then, I mean, I never got the chance to go to school. And all I did was focus on my career and then trying to push it somewhere. And that was because I participated a lot at community events. There are a lot of community tech focused communities in Ghana. There is one very popular one that I kind of know, like everybody in there. Their name is Dev Congress. You can just go on Google and search for Dev Congress. You spell it DEV and then Congress. And then there are just too many that you can't even count. There is a Facebook developer circles and a lot of them. And the reason why I keep stressing is that so 2022, I was working at Petra. Petra is known for their pension tier two, tier whatever. And then at some point they decided to make a mobile app. That was where I got referred by people that actually knew me and they knew how much I was dedicated to my craft and they saw the potential in me and then they offered me a job. So like I mentioned earlier, I don't have a degree such that you would ask me, okay, show me your degree. It's more of like with the people that I met in the community and through our interactions, it was very easy for them to see that, okay, this is somebody that knows his stuff. I mean, he doesn't have the degree that most people have and brag about, but he has value. And if we do add him to this project or this company, then he has the capacity to add value to us, and that would in turn make us money. And then we can compensate him well enough. So if there's anything that you take away from this talk of mine, community will always get you ahead way faster. I know people that are in uh Facebook, I know people that are in Google, and they only got there because they were in the right company and they didn't have this mindset of I am in competition with anybody. It's a big space, the sky is large enough for everybody to soar. And what next did I add? Okay, so that is pretty much my talk. I didn't think it would end this early, but that's a picture of me. I was at that's PyCon Africa. It's a program by the Python Foundation. It's one of these programming languages, but then as part of their social outreach programs and giving back to the community, they organize these conferences. I think the last one was held in Tanzania somewhere and a lot of people from Ghana went. There was a time where it happened in Ghana, and it happened in Legon campus. And as you can see there, I was pretty young. I have like a bowed head because the barbers always mess with my hairline. So I just decided at this stage of my life, let me just get rid of everything. And I was looking so young. There was no mustache, there was no beard. I don't know how old I was, but I was really young. So thanks for being at my talk. And this next section is just where I get to take questions and make it interactive as possible. Thank you. Mhm.
Wow, that was brief, concise, informative. So, guys, we open up for questions. Some of you joined late. We have been listening to the journey of Mr. Precious Chima. Precious filtered his content, and I'm going to make sure his firewall has zero access lists. Your DMZs are going to be broken down. Let me ask you the first question. In your narrative, you talked about life after SHS, but there's a whole gap left from SHS to where you are. And that is where most of us in this call are fitting in. What was the trajectory like? How did you actually enter the tech space? Thank you.
Okay, so I mean, all of that information could probably fit in a book, but then I'll try and make it brief. So after school, I think I had the chance to participate in some program that MTN used to run those times. They call it the MTN Apps Challenge, and it was meant to kind of foster tech usage and people being able to build things in the Ghanaian community. So I had a chance to participate in there, and then we didn't. We never came out as first. I think we got something like the third position. So after I saw what my code could bring because like we had a lot of cash prizes and I used that to buy my first laptop. I was now I now saw what I could potentially be getting if I was really dedicated to my craft. So I was like out looking for, places that can enable the things I wanted to do. So there were a lot of like I don't know how to call them, but then you have these organizations that are like code focused. And then I happened to chance on one that, like I was present at the right time. And then it just happened that I met Mr. Ransford at that time. And we kind of did a bunch of things together. And the nature of that was more like somebody trusting you and counting on your potential to be able to deliver. And I mean, for the life of me, it was more like the way you run a startup, and then you go to take money from people, and then you promise to give them returns at the end of the month. So I mean, it's that everything goes right, and then the startup makes back that money to be able to pay, or you squander the money and then you have to close shop because now there's no more funding. So yeah, we built a lot of things, and it kind of forced me into that place where like I have to make this count, like because like this is my best shot at everything, because I previously mentioned that I didn't want to get back into that life that my parents all they knew about was like trading. So this is like my one-way ticket to becoming anything I could possibly be. So I think like one that was like one of the big steps that actually happened to me, and like one of the biggest realization of like somebody giving you a chance, like a really fair one that you don't have to like pay anything for, but then just show up and then try to add much value as you can. So I think that's pretty much where everything kind of like started for me. Yeah.
Thank you. The line is open. Please ask the question. Precious is ready to answer all your questions. Right. Whilst at it, many of our young guys believe so much in getting a certificate from the university. And once they get it, it becomes the strongest weapon they have in the market. With the experience you've shared, I want to find out, how do you reframe the mindset of these people to take the opportunity that is offered them with all their might, one day at a time, so that it's not about hoping for, but quantifying every opportunity they get?
Okay. So I think I think in general, most people would like to aspire to be things or do things that they really want to do. But then the thing that tends to happen is that we are humans, and survival is one thing that you can't escape. Before you think of becoming the president of Ghana tomorrow, you need to be able to survive today. You need to have like a 3 square meal. You need to have a good bath like twice in the day. You need to have clothes, and you need to have a good place to stay. And the reality is that a lot of people come out of school and it's almost like you are being thrown deep into the seas to like figure out things for you, because your parents will just give up on you because, we've been able to fund your education since primary to the secondary school and to the university, and now you are out, and like you have to make something of yourself, or even maybe you just ended it at secondary school. The one thing I can say is that once some level of your survival needs are being met, you can always do something. And in today's age where internet access is as easy as getting one cheap phone. These days phones are very cheap. Like phones are very cheap, and it doesn't even take much to get internet access. The internet access has made access to a lot of things in the world very easy. Like if I wanted to know how to trade crypto, I am just like one CD bundle away. I can just buy that and then get some guides on how to trade it. If I wanted to know what it means to launch a satellite into space, I just need some small amount of data. So it's more of you having the drive and knowing what you want. If you're fresh out of school and tech is what interests you, and I mean that's what I can really speak on. the internet is available to you, and the power of communities, like I mentioned, is like all you can count on. Because once you have the drive and you are curious, you can always achieve everything. And I think one last thing I would like to say is that I've had a couple of people come up to me, and I mean, they see all the nice things. They see that, you drive a cool car, you go to all these conferences, and it looks like you have money, you dress nice, like that lifestyle is attractive. They want that. And all they can see you talking about is tech. So they're like, okay, if I get into software or if I get into a technical role, then that means I should have money and I should be able to have a nice car. I should be able to do all the things that Chima is doing. But behind the scenes, they don't see the amount of work that I put into my craft. Like they don't see the amount of extra work that I have to do to be able to show myself competent at the table, or they don't see the amount of work I have to do to make sure I am up to date and I'm capable of adding value to these companies that I work for. And that is the part where a lot of people that come up to me, they fall off. Because you come to me, Chima, I want to be like you, I want to get somewhere in tech. And I'm like, you know what? Spend 1 week building this stuff. Like, let it be very simple. I want to see like your drive. I want to see what exactly is driving you to want to be in tech. And the good thing is they never come back. Because if you don't come back, it helps me because my time is very small, and this time mostly is to create value for companies so that they pay me so that I can afford my bills and keep my life running. So if you want me to be like a mentor to you, then I need to see that if I invest this effort into you, you aren't just going to throw it away because my effort is valuable. And yeah, like I said, the good thing is they never come back because they realize the amount of work you have to do to get there, and they just bounce off and go do something else. They settle for some low-key career. I mean, it's able to make them survive, but it's not exactly what they want. So, I mean, you really have to know what you want and be hungry because I can tell you, me, I was hungry. Something was chasing me, and it's either I run away from it or it catches up to me, and then I go back to my daddy's house and I help him in the profession that he always knew, and I didn't want to end up there. So yeah, I mean, you have to be hungry and know what you want and just go after it. That's it.
So you don't want to go back to your daddy's house. That story you don't want to tell. Eh? That very day, that car moved from that place to Accra. Tell us those stories. Some of us feel that the unheard stories are the very trigger points people need to press in their lives. A
Mhm.
lot of us think that our situations are so bad, we can't get out of it. And they have not heard of somebody's story. And I personally believe that your story in those bits and pieces you want to cut out are the very things university students have to hear. How they defy basic logic and be able to reach out for their goals. The hours of working, the nights, working, assignments, those built this career. We need to hear these stories. Don't leave them out. I'm waiting.
Okay, so I would touch on that. So the thing is, the problem I had with my parents, or the problem that my parents had, that was going to be a big barrier for me was, I was fresh out of school, and there was possibly no amount of value I could add to justify anybody paying me any amount of money. I mean, you can claim to know tech, but if that tech doesn't create any value for anybody, then nobody has a reason to give you money, and there is no free lunch anywhere. So I was staying with my parents, like I mentioned, and I have to help them in their role. But then here comes an opportunity to give me the environment or the space so that I can put the skills to work and create value. And here comes my dad, the typical Nigerian mindset. because you need to survive. Like you can all be nice and dandy. Somehow, some way, somehow, you need to make money and survive. So my dad comes with, okay, so how much money are we going to be making out of this? So I have to answer, and I'm like, I mean, I don't really know. Am I supposed to be paid? Should I be paid? And you can imagine the look on my dad's face when your son is speaking like that. It simply just means like your son isn't serious enough about life, or he thinks everything is free. And then, okay, since I didn't want to deal with that, so then I just, move that information up to the person that was kind of like guiding me or offering this working environment so that I can put my skills to use. And it was more like, I mean, it started to feel awkward because even for me, I knew exactly where I was, and I knew that, I mean, there was no way this value that I had or this skills that I had could produce any value, possibly not even in the shortest amount of time. It was going to take a lot of work before we even start to see any value. And here was an opportunity for me to have an environment where my basic needs are being met. Like I get to eat, I get to sleep, I get to wake up, and all I have to do is make sure that I'm putting these tech skills to use and being able to create value. So it was a bit of a mess. Like it was one huge problem, and I mean, up until now, it's been like one of the things that I still argue about with my dad because he just doesn't agree on the side of software being anything reasonable in Africa. But then these days, people are seeing the light, and people want to introduce you to the light. But then when you have this kind of people that don't just enable it, then you are either frustrated or you are forced to settle for less. So yeah, it was a bit of a mess all over the place. But yeah, that is what you get when you have people that see potential in you and they want to make sure that you reach that potential. But I mean, it has to be out of your own free will, not like anyone is forcing you into a role that you don't want to be. So I think that pretty much summarizes it. Like there are going to be challenges, but the fundamental thing is once your basic needs are being met, like you being able to eat, you being able to have a place to sleep, you being able to even drink water. Then the next thing is trying to amass skills that can create value because this world is a value-based system. No one is going to give you free money because you look beautiful or you are handsome or like you're fit. It doesn't work that way. You have to create value, and that value, when you create it, it is going to bring money, and that money is what is going to be a compensation. So, I mean, that's just how it works. I don't know what else to say, but hopefully it does make sense. Yeah.
All right, there's a question in the chat asking when you are going back to school, and I don't know when.
Yeah. Yeah.
A difficult one.
Okay. It's not really difficult. So when I have like I think 7 years experience working as a software engineer professionally. And after I left Petra, I began thinking because at that point I had saved money and I could put myself through school, but then I was still working for one Kenyan startup. We were doing something in the finance space. So I started placing myself into school. I actually got admission and I was reading business administration. Yeah, it was a shock on everybody's face because they expected Chima to read software engineering and Chima chose to do something different. I chose business because I didn't want to be this person that only knew about computers. I wanted to be diverse so that, you know, if I can get my code working on some computer, then I can also be useful when it comes to talking about the money and running businesses. So I went to school. I was in level 100 and then I went to level 200. But then I think the thing that happened was I got laid off from my Kenyan startup, and then it was a huge shock to me that I couldn't like manage. And then I didn't drop out. Like I just left the school. Like I just left everything and I never showed up to the school till now. And now that I think of it, that is not to rule out the fact that I don't think university degrees are reasonable or not. I mean, if you have the luxury to get one, do it. Because there are some spaces in software that you probably would never get there, if we are being honest, if you don't have a degree or if you don't have anything after a degree, be it a master's or anything. Like there are roles in companies like Bloomberg, Facebook, and Apple. And I mean, as of now, I don't intend to work there because I have my own conviction that no matter how much impact I try to make in those organizations, like it will probably not be seen. Like, and I don't want to end up in that environment where all I get is a big fat paycheck. I prefer working in startups where I can move fast and see my impact and see the value that I am adding to people. So, I mean, that is why one of the products I brag about is Achieve. Because when I started that thing, like I was just young, and it was just because people saw the value I could bring to the table. And now people are able to invest their monies like in CDs. You can buy foreign stocks and trade, like you can buy any sort of stocks that you want on the app. And previously that wasn't possible, but because of tech and because of somebody giving me a chance to reach my dreams, I was able to make something like that happen, and everybody's using it. So probably sometime in my life where, probably I should have a wife so that she's running the house and we have kids, then I have some fat money saved in the bank where I don't have to worry about working for anybody or anybody laying me off. I'll put myself to school, and I'll do it at my own pace and not have to juggle school and work, because I did that and it was just too bad. I was stressed most of the time and I just gave up. So that's my little school story.
You touched on a point that really hit me. And sometimes we lose sight of the fact that we should focus on our destination, where you want to be. And you mentioned that there are certain places and companies you can't get to the top. Now, it really gave me a bit of goosebumps because sometimes there are certain steps we are taking today, decisions we are making today, we don't preempt the potential is going to take away from us in the future. And I'm just saying this for our interns and others here, that there are certain prices and choices we may be making now that, because of the little discomforts we are going through, we are sacrificing a big opportunity in future. Let's pay the price. Let's invest a little bit more. I saw a little bit more on somebody's status, and anytime I get tired, I remember a little bit more, and the new energy gets into me that it's not over until it's all over. Please, the lines are still open. Mr. Chima has done pretty well in 40 minutes. He's articulated the topics he's handling, and I need to hear something from you. Young men and women in the universities, any questions from you? I don't see any question in the chat box. All right. So, Mr. Chima, on behalf of, oh, there's a hand up. Alvin. Alvin raises your hand. Alvin, go ahead.
All right, sir. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Chima, boss, thank you very much. I appreciated this session. I'm fortunate to have a mentor. He even sent me the link. I didn't know something like this was even happening anywhere in Ghana here. Um, my question is that my mentor has other people he is mentoring. And when we get together, I realize most of these people, they are applying. Some 100 plus applications, 200 plus applications. All they are getting are rejection. Unfortunately, we cannot move forward. Unfortunately, and it's very discouraging when I look at how much effort it takes for them to get the job that they are looking for. And so I just want to ask, is it, I don't know, in troubleshooting this, could it be a problem with the CV? Could it be that that's how the system is? Could it be that we just need to keep trying, or we are not qualified? I don't know what the problem is. That's why I'm asking, please.
Okay. But to answer that question, we would approach it in different stages, like the way your doctor does different checks to know, So if you're applying for these jobs and at least you are able to get to the stage where the interview happens and you don't get the job, there is a prescription for that, like paracetamol. And then if you are the type that you put in applications, but then you have companies barely reaching out to you or even sending you like a rejection email, there is also a prescription for that. And then probably the last set of people are like people who get through the interview, conversation is good, everything is good, and then maybe you reach a deal breaker, like, okay, I want them to pay me like $1,000 for my value that I bring to the table. And the company is like, oh, that is way too much. Like, we can only afford $500. And you're like, okay, I mean, I'll think about it. And then, it doesn't work out. Or maybe they want you to come work on site, but then you prefer to work from the comfort of your home. And you're like, okay, this is a deal breaker for me. There's also a prescription for that. So the first set of people that probably never get any feedback after that, I think working on your CV is one thing that can improve that, because the one thing with CVs is that you want to skip all the chat and just get right to the value that you can bring to these companies. Like I mentioned earlier, most things that I work with run on a value-based system. How much value are we going to get if we bring you to this company? Like, I'm speaking mainly for software, because like a lot of other careers doesn't give you the opportunity to like create anything. Like somebody that is a teacher, like you are not expected to create any value. You're supposed to come take some documentation, which is like the syllables and things that already exist, and then pump that knowledge into like young children or like people. You are not really creating anything new. But when you get into software, these are careers that require you to create something. In your CV, you want to be sure that you are listing out the things that you are very experienced with, that even if I call you out of your sleep, you are going to be able to articulate everything that you know and how you can put that knowledge to use. You want those things to be very easy to find on the CV, like things like your hobbies and those things don't really add value to anybody. So you want to be sure that the value you bring to the table are very open. Everybody can see it. And that is just one. And then the second thing also is that getting jobs, CV is not the only thing you need to get jobs, or like applying on some websites. It's not the only way you can get a job. So I've given out this advice to like two people so far, and it has worked. So I'm going to say that my theory has been kind of validated. But what I told these people is that, okay, you are a software engineer, you are looking for a job. And right now, looking at the job market, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is looking for a job. And most of them are not even getting it. So this is what I want you to do. Look for that single company that you want to work at. Like, do your research. Find that one company. It could be Coca-Cola. It could be Nestle Ghana. Like, fixate your eye on this company. Read everything you can possibly read about them. Know what they do on a day-to-day basis. Know, like, anything that they put out public. Just know it about them. Know about their community outreach programs and ways they add value to the community. Now, you are going to tailor your skill set to these people, to this company. And what you're going to do is that you're going to find a way to email them, or you're going to find whoever the CEO is, or whoever the HR is in that company. And you probably find that on LinkedIn. And you're going to craft a message, like a DM, just like how you DM someone on WhatsApp. You send them a DM, and the content of that DM is like a sales pitch. You are pitching yourself to them. That's, hey, I know about your company. I know all the amazing things you do, but if you have me as a player on your team, we can achieve this. And I'm very confident with that one because it has worked for me. Like my current company, we contract for companies like Google and Amazon. And what that means is Google and Amazon, they are too big, like they are big and they have like uh hundreds of teams working on different products like Gmail, Google Drive. It's the same company, but then you have like smaller companies in them that are super focused. But then they still have other products that their internal resource can't handle. So they outsource those things to companies like mine. So it's kind of like I'm working on Google products, but I can't scream that loud because then legal might catch up to me. So you send like a very focused DM explicitly selling yourself out and how much value you can add. And I don't see how they are going to turn that down. I mean, probably it won't happen, but your chances of landing an interview, and it's not even going to be like a technical one where they ask you, write some piece of code. No, it's not going to happen because they can already see that you know enough about our company. That means if we add you to this project today, within 2 days, you're going to start adding value because the thing that happens is companies have like small resources. So hiring people is not cheap. Like when you hire somebody, it takes generally about 2 to 3 months before you can be confident that these people can add value to our product. So if you're an engineer, your mindset should be that I'm going to learn about this company and everything they do so that if I join them within a week, they should start singing my praises like, yo, this guy is a star. Like he joined the project and look at it. We have fewer bugs. Like we have very clean code and he knows the stuff. Like that's the kind of things you want. So I've tried and tested this with two people. One guy was in the university when we had this conversation. He was almost about getting out. And he had a background in optometry, like they study about the eyes and things. So, and then he knows a bit about software. So he used this Google AI thing to build an AI agent that can look at eye photographs and like results, and then kind of like tell you what exactly is going on with your eye. And the company that he wanted to work for was also building a product that was meant for that domain, like that is optometry. So he crafted his message and he got an interview, and that interview didn't even last like 2 hours. It was an hour. And I can tell you that he got that job and he was working while writing his exams. And now he's out of school and he doesn't even think about an internship because then he's already in a company. So the company just have to like send whatever documentation the government needs, and he keeps his job and he doesn't take that seven. I don't know how much it is now, like seven. Is it 718 national service allowance or something? Like he's been paid a real salary because he's adding value, and or because his message to this company was very focused and targeted. So I mean that's one. And then the last set of people that like your deal breaker could be the salary is small, or you don't like the working ethics that they speak about. Maybe you have to work from like 9 to 6, like on unusual schedules, or like sometimes you are being called on the weekends to attend to a product because that product is public facing and it's urgent, or like maybe some other deal breaker. So you have to know what you are getting from every company or at any stage in time. If you're just coming out of university, your focus should not be money. Your focus should be gaining experience as fast as possible because you're thinking of the future. And the only thing that can make you relevant in the future is how much experience you're bringing to the table. So if you are focused on two things, gathering experience and gathering money, then you would always have that conflict at the end of your interview where you have to agree on something. Because me, when I started out, I think the first salary I ever got, that was somewhere in let's say 2018, because 2017 I was still finding my feet. So let's say 2018 was 300 and something CDs. And I was really excited because now I can afford to buy my kid brother's pizza. I can buy my own data. I don't need to ask my dad. I can do things for myself. And I was excited, 300 CDs. But if you offer somebody 300 CDs today for a job, best believe every information about you is going to end up on social media and people are going to make a mockery of you because, like, why are you offering somebody 300 CDs? But the question you should be asking yourself is, how much value are you bringing to the table for someone to pay you 1,000 CDs? It's not just going to happen. So at that point in your life, the focus should be gaining experience. The money is not too good, but it's enough to make me survive. So I'll focus on gain experience. And now, yeah, that sums up everything. So if you're just starting out, your focus should not be the money. It should just be good enough to afford your survival, but not too crazy. Like you say, you are taking Uber and going up and down. No, 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 no. Just keep it small. You're able to get a good daily meal. You're able to wake up, pay your bills, and then focus on gaining experience because experience is the only thing that makes me relevant right now. Like nobody would want to employ me if I don't keep up to date with my things or if I start forgetting how to create software. Like I'll become irrelevant. Nobody will give a shit about me. So the only thing that makes me relevant in this conversation or at the table is that I'm always eager to add value in the shortest amount of time. And I'm always looking for ways to make sure that my experience is relevant. Hopefully, this was a long one, but hopefully that answers your question.
So thank you for that. There are two questions in the chat box. I want to enter into the programming life. Please, how do I start? Then the other one is that is software development and cybersecurity. That's a two-edged sword. That means he want to enter that space. How does he start?
Okay, so the easiest way you can start is just start. Like I mentioned, these days, technology has advanced so much that it's easy to reach the internet. With a 1 CD bundle, you can do plenty things before MTN tells you that it is done and you have to buy again. So the thing is, just start, like whatever you can find. Don't be too specific about I want to know this specific thing. But if you are if you are knowledgeable enough to know what excites you, that's so in software, there are many things. Everything now has software running it. Like me, like this. If I'm Mr. Ransford can attest to this. If I'm not working, then you'd find me in my car with my laptop. I'm trying to program something into my car. Like it, I never knew that, but I was curious enough to learn it. So just start. There are things like mobile phones, like making anything run on mobile phones. You can get started in that, or maybe you are somebody that wants to build a website for your friend that has a business. Just start. Go to Google and say, okay, how to create a website. I can tell you that the first three options that you get, one of them would have some information that would get you started. So the thing you just require is just getting started. And feels like cyber security and all of them, it applies across. I mean, you just have to start. Once you are gaining the experience, you start to have that personal conviction like, okay, I mean, I like website design, but from the from the from the conversation I have with people, the kind of businesses they bring to me is more of like designing mobile applications. It doesn't mean you're going to ditch your website knowledge that you know. You're going to have it, but since this is the demand people are bringing to you, then you would start upskilling in mobile development too. Like me, like this. Right now, I know a bit of everything. It doesn't make me a jack of all trades. It's more like I know how to survive in any of those domains. I might not know everything, but I can figure it out given time. So just start and just be curious enough to just start. Like build something small, show it to your friends, get feedback, and improve it. That's as simple as it can get. There's no magic.
Right. Thank you very much. As time is not on our side, the little I'll add to that is a lot of people have very nice CVs, but the CVs are only talking about the past. There is no current activity they are engaged in that they can show as evidence of their capacity to do something. Over the years, the number of people I've interviewed, I realized that the inclination is to those who are very practical, rather than those who show historic data, because your experience in another company may not be so relevant in the company you are applying to. And all that a recruiter wants to see is that you know your stuff. So when you are out of school and searching for a job, have something you can show as your product. Most of the time, we are running around with CVs, but we have nothing to show. Develop a website, build a simple application, go and find a trade, something inclined to, if it's electrical engineering, start a repairing, go to a repairing shop, start repairing something. I fall for those kind of things than those who give me a thesis or 5-page CV with so much English, because the job market requires practicality rather than theories. Thank you very much. There's a hand by iPhone. Can you speak up, iPhone? Let's.
Yes. Hello. Please, can you, am I audible?
Very audible.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so the question I have for Chima is that this is a very, very specific question. So assuming somebody who started, who's decided to go full on software, but has a data background, like a data engineering background, and in the past 6 months has been able to pick up React, React Express Node, and has been able to build an MVP for a product, right? And is currently working as a sort of a contractor, right? And then it's project based. Since there are no, I would say, tech leads, or there is nobody on the team who is like an advanced engineer. You are basically the top engineer because it's a contract, you're handling everything. How would you be able to improve, and what could be the next steps, what could be the next basically stage to try to get to? Do you understand? So you are kind of making some sort of money, but you understand that you want to improve, you want to go to the next step, and this would only currently rely on the next project that comes that will challenge you. So in the meantime, what could you do? What could be something that you know I could do basically to improve my skills?
I think that's a very good question because a few of my friends, I find them in the same space. And the one advice I give to most people is that in this life, what I realize is that a lot of decisions that you would make if you have a good savings account, it allows you to sleep well at night, and it makes your mind kind of relaxed when you have to take some decisions. So like in your case like this, uh I mean, I love to work in startups, so I find myself doing a lot of things at the same time. I could be doing website today, I could be doing mobile app today, or I could be deploying things on AWS. But then at the end of the day, I am getting skills from each of these places. So if suddenly you are like the realization that, okay, I need to start preparing for the next phase of my career, but then I need to start upskilling in something. But all these things I am doing is kind of like taking all my time, and it's not really as possible for me to start upskilling in anything right now because I am full, like I'm tired. Then the easiest thing you could possibly do is that for the next, let's say, 4 to 6 months, what you can do is you are going to be very focused, make sure that, okay, I'm going to have a good savings. I'm going to save a large portion of those salaries so that it can buy me time, so that maybe after that 6 months, I'm preparing to leave that company. I mean, you are leaving because you are choosing yourself. You want time so that you can invest into your career, so that you are ready for the next thing. So you can take off that time. Some companies are very lenient to afford leaves up to like 1 month. You can take that, but if you want to do any focused work, where you don't want to be caught in this, where you are doing data cleaning today and tomorrow you are doing like server deployments tomorrow, then it's just safe that, okay, you start thinking about the next thing. And the best way you can feel comfortable, at least for me, things that actually made me feel comfortable was I have like I always make sure I had good savings. So when I was thinking about the next thing, I wasn't approaching it from being scared or from a survival standpoint. Like, okay, what if I leave this job and it doesn't work? Then it means what? I am broke. I can't afford my bills. No. But then if you think of it the other way, where okay, if I leave this job, I mean, I can afford my basic living expenses.
Hello,
Yeah.
Chima. Not to cut you off,
Okay.
but let's assume that this part of the problem is solved. The time
Uh-huh.
is there. The time is now there. You have the
Yeah.
time, and then
Mhm.
you don't have to think about all these things. Like, what do you do? What are the practical steps that one can take to be able to
Okay.
improve their skills? Do you understand? So let's just say practically, let's say last week I finished building the MVP. Everything
Mhm.
is working, and that's it. If let's say the client hasn't asked me to, let's say, even deploy, I'm not deploying it. So basically, there's free time. Like there's completely free time. What can I do? And obviously, because it's a contract, I can't just add features that have not been asked for
Mhm.
into the project because it's very specific. What else can I do? Do I have to start a new project? Do I look for an internship? Or like what practically could I do to improve, these skills? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you mentioned that you are on a contract, it means you are not, if you find yourself working for another company, there's no way anyone can take you up with legal, like you are free to do anything. So far as you don't share confidential information between the parties, that is fine. But I think the question that you have to answer for yourself is, okay, what is the next thing that I want to be able, like mentioned, you just finished building the MVP for your customer. The customer is not in charge of your growth. All they care about is that you are building them an MVP for a mobile app or a website. Now, the next thing, like you mentioned, is that you have to deploy it, but they didn't mention that. Or maybe you aren't too, you don't care about deployment. Maybe some other engineer is going to do that. I mean, if deployment excites you and you'd want to maybe add it to your belt, like okay, I can build things but I can also deploy it, then you can make a Google search, or like there are specialized courses that AWS and this other cloud companies sell out, that some of them, when you complete it, they give you certifications. I think this one common one that for a lot of network companies that you would work at, they require it. Even cybersecurity, like you need to know about Cisco, and they have all these certifications. You can work on those things without having them. So maybe if that's what interests you, you can use some of the money that you have, pay for it. It's more of like you are investing into your career. I mean, you can go to other companies and gain experience, or you can stay where you are and pay to get the experience. Like it is two things. So you have to know what works for you. But the point still remains that you are in charge of your career, and whatever you decide to do, I mean, you are investing into yourself.
Right. Thank you on that. Uh, One area just I want to add to it is how to multiplex the hours we have in a day. A lot of us might be in the situation where our Alvin or iPhone mentioned, they have a job, they have so many hours at their hand. And from experience, I value time so much so that I check it with the 90 minutes they play on the football field. People are making 90 minutes money and we are sitting down watching them. So I get very angry at football. How do you convert that? It's important you identify areas of your life that your skill can improve and convert back to money. So you are good at deploying systems. Why don't you take a course in Udemy on how to load training into the same Udemy and sell it at 10, 20 cedis? So as you are fixing the devices or configuring, you record your screen. Why don't you launch into AI, learn any of the AI tools? Why don't you start a small consulting, offer your skill for free to somebody? Do a pro bono start. Once you have that offer, it opens up way. It's not always that time can be converted to money, but there are most times that the skill that you deploy in the pro bono instance is able to convert other opportunities because you demonstrate a high precision of skill set. So master your skill. That's the first stage. And then make sure you can monetize your skill. Many of us are tied to salary. You can do good works, but salary is not enough. 24 hours, you segment it and you check yourself, how can I multiplex it? You can have two computers at the same time, do deep work, monetize it, irrespective of the fact that we are students, majority of us. So many things are available to convert your hours to money. Digital skills, training skills, coaching sessions. You can be just a sports trainer. And if you go through how to evolve it into a business, you will realize that there are so many opportunities at hand that you can make money from. Thank you very much. I don't think we have any more questions. Our session time is up. And I want to thank everybody for coming, especially for Mr. Chima for showing up today. You've given us raw insight into your career, and I think we have learned a lot from you. So on behalf of Hover Consult and our interns, I want to say a big thank you. And we hope to invite you again when the opportunity comes. Thank you so much. Should we let's give him some thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up as we close. Thank you very much. Okay, so guys, we'll meet tomorrow in our team and we'll continue from there. Hope to see you on Friday. Bye.